let me talk about trademarks a bit, and then I'll wrap it up. Now, trademarks, again, a very interesting topic. Here I have some examples. So we have Adidas, the letters, the word. Then we have the logo, the three stripes, the famous three stripes. Then we have another logo, which is three stripe plus the Adidas logo, right? So this is what is called as the Adidas spelling is what is called as a word mark, and the other two marks are what is called as a device marks, right? So when you are applying for a trademark, you need to decide whether I should apply for a trademark on a word or whether I should apply for a trademark on a device, right? So for example, InvnTree, which is my company, I would prefer going for a word protection, because if I get a protection over the word, then I can stop everybody else from actually copying that particular word in whichever style they want to use it in, right? So that gives me a fairly broad protection, right? So my first choice would be to go for a word protection, and thereafter, if I have the bandwidth, if I have the resources, then I would subsequently look at protecting my logo and combination of my logo and the word, so on and so forth. In some cases, the logo itself might be something very relevant for your business, in which case you can go ahead and apply logo. So essentially, as I mentioned, anything, be it a word or be it a logo, something that connects your goods and services to your company, back to your company, is what can be protected as a trademark. Now, the requirement is that for you to get trademark registration, the logo or the word should be such that it should not be highly descriptive of your service. For example, let's say I am running a cab aggregation service and I call my app cab aggregator. So something like that, very difficult to get protection, right? So if your logo or if your trademark essentially describes your exact goods or your exact services, that would be highly difficult for you to get any protection. And such a logo is highly not recommended from an IP standpoint, right? Because it is very easy. Others will be able to copy it and you will not be able to do anything about it. Second, even when you have a unique name, the name should be such that it should actually stand out from other names that are there in the same field of business. So for example, let's say my company is InvnTree. We provide intellectual property services. I can actually protect the name InvnTree within the field of, let's say, intellectual property services, or I might be able to even extend it a bit and say that I can protect the name InvnTree for all legal services. However, if somebody were to start a shoe company and keep the name InvnTree, they would be absolutely free to go ahead and do that. That is the case with almost all trademarks, except for certain trademarks which are known as well-known marks. For example, just to give you an insight, something like Tata, something like Reliance, so on and so forth. Even though, let's say, Tata is not into the field of IP consulting, I cannot start a company called Tata because that Tata is a well-known mark and there is a concept around that, right? So protection, you have to select the right kind of trademark which does not describe your field of service straight away. It has to be a mark that is distinct from what already exists in that particular field. Now, when you apply for a trademark, based on the goods and services that you are going to cover within that particular trademark, the trademark application, in a trademark application, you will be selecting what is called as a class. So there are multiple classes, and each class covers a set of goods and a set of services. So based on whatever you want to protect, you might be filing a trademark application in one class, or it could be filed in multiple trademark application, each application covering different classes, different class for the same trademark. So whenever you talk about get some quotation on trademarks, it will almost always be based on the number of classes. Third thing, registration. Unlike patents, in trademarks, registration is not mandatory. Yeah, unlike patents, registration is not mandatory in trademarks, right? So as long as you are using a logo or using a name in the form of a trademark, it is your trademark, and nobody can actually, you can defend it. However, registration is highly recommended, because protecting a trademark when it is registered is much easier, much simpler as compared to protecting an unregistered trademark. So that being the reason, and trademark registration not being very expensive, we highly recommend that, although not mandatory, you go ahead and apply for trademark registration. Then comes the term of trademark registration. We saw that in patents, it is like 20 years term, but in trademarks, it is not like that. It can be indefinite. The first registration that you get it registered for 10 years. And thereafter, you keep on renewing it. So it can go indefinitely. The benefits of trademark registration, of course, the brand recognition, you can prevent your brand from being diluted, which means to say that you can prevent others from using similar names. So that way you can have a very strong brand recognition and you can build on that particular brand.